You see, life will test you. It will break you down, challenge your beliefs, and push you to the edge, but that's where transformation begins. That's where the real you shows up. Every single person on this planet carries pain, heartbreak, failure, betrayal, loss, and most people spend their lives trying to run from it, numb it, or pretend it doesn't exist. But what if I told you your pain isn't here to destroy you? It's here to shape you. The truth is, pain is life's greatest teacher. It reveals your strength, your depth, and your capacity to grow. When you stop fighting your pain and start listening to it, it becomes fuel. It becomes power. Some of you have been through moments that shattered your confidence. You've been ignored, abandoned, doubted, or left behind. You might think those experiences define you, but they don't. They refine you. You were never meant to stay stuck in your suffering. You were meant to rise from it, to use it as the fire that drives you forward. The difference between people who stay broken and people who rise strong is simple. Those who rise find meaning in their pain. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can this teach me about myself, about life, about who I want to become? Because when you attach purpose to your pain, it transforms. The same energy that once hurt you now empowers you. Think about it. The strongest people you've ever met aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who walked through darkness, faced their demons, and came out stronger because they refused to quit. You have that power inside you. You have the ability to take every scar, every disappointment, every heartbreak, and turn it into strength, wisdom, and compassion. You can use your pain to help others, to lead, to inspire, to create. You can use it to fuel your discipline, your ambition, your hunger. Because pain is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your transformation. So stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start declaring, this happened for me. When you do that, when you decide that nothing can break you, that everything will serve you, your pain becomes your power. Remember this, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control what it means. And meaning is what turns pain into purpose, struggle into strength, and suffering into success. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are the warrior that rose from them. So stand tall, speak your truth, live your life with fire in your heart, because your pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken the power within you. Pain is one of life's greatest paradoxes. It feels like a curse when we're in it, yet it's often the very thing that pushes us to grow, evolve, and transform. Most people spend their lives trying to escape pain. They run from it, hide from it, numb it with distractions, or deny its presence. But the truth is, pain is not a punishment. It's a teacher. It's a messenger from life itself, showing us where we need to look, what we need to heal, and how we can rise to the next level of our strength. The difference between those who remain trapped by their suffering and those who rise from it lies in one thing: perspective. When you shift the way you look at pain, everything changes. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? That one question transforms you from a victim of circumstance into a student of life. Pain forces us to face what we've been avoiding, our fears, our insecurities, our weaknesses. It strips away illusions and brings truth to the surface. It's uncomfortable because it's real. It doesn't lie to you. It shows you exactly where you stand and challenges you to grow beyond it. Every time you experience pain, it's life telling you that there's something inside you that's ready to evolve. Maybe it's an outdated belief that no longer serves you. Maybe it's a habit that's keeping you stuck. Maybe it's an emotional wound you've never truly faced. Whatever it is, pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to wake you up. The moment you begin to see pain as feedback rather than punishment, you reclaim your power. You stop running and start learning. You stop hiding and start healing. When you understand that pain has purpose, you begin to meet it differently. You start to lean into it with curiosity rather than fear. You begin to listen to what it's trying to tell you. Sometimes it's a lesson in patience. Sometimes it's a lesson in letting go. Sometimes it's simply teaching you how strong you really are. The things that hurt us most often become the things that shape us most deeply. Every scar tells a story, not of defeat, but of survival. Think about the moments in your life that shaped who you are today. Chances are they weren't the easy times. It was the heartbreak, the rejection, the failure, the disappointment, those moments that pushed you to grow, to dig deeper, to find strength you didn't know you had. Those moments were your teachers. They revealed your resilience, your determination, your will to rise again. Without them, you wouldn't have developed the emotional muscle needed to face the world with confidence and clarity. When pain arrives, it's an invitation to slow down and look within. It asks you to reflect, what am I holding on to? What belief is keeping me trapped? What truth am I avoiding? Pain will never leave until it's taught you what it came to teach. But once you understand the lesson, it transforms, it loses its grip on you. It turns from an enemy into an ally, from a wound into wisdom. Pain humbles us. It reminds us that we're human, that we're capable of breaking, but also capable of rebuilding. It strips away the ego and connects us to our deepest humanity. When you've walked through pain and come out stronger, you don't just gain strength, you gain empathy. You begin to understand others and their suffering because you've been there. And that empathy becomes another form of power. So the next time pain enters your life, don't run from it. Sit with it. Feel it. Listen to it. Ask it what it's trying to show you. Because behind every ache, every heartbreak, and every loss lies a lesson that can lift you higher. Pain is not a punishment for what you've done wrong. It's preparation for what's coming next. It's a sign that you're growing, stretching, and stepping into a stronger version of yourself. When you start seeing pain as a teacher, life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. Your struggles are not meant to define who you are. They are meant to refine who you are becoming. Every person faces moments that test their limits, times when it feels like the weight of the world is too much to carry. These experiences are not life's way of labeling you as weak or broken. They are the forge through which your strength, resilience, and character are shaped. The people who emerge strongest are not the ones who never suffered, but the ones who refuse to let their suffering dictate the rest of their story. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become after it. When we go through hardship, it's easy to believe that our pain defines us. Failure can make us think we're incapable. Heartbreak can make us feel unworthy. Rejection can convince us we're not enough. But these are lies created by fear and emotional wounds. The truth is, struggle is part of growth. Every time you've been pushed down, you are being shown how to rise higher. Every disappointment was an opportunity to discover your strength. Every setback was a step toward resilience. The fire that feels like it's burning you is often the same fire that's forging your power. Life will never protect you from struggle because struggle is what shapes your evolution. Without challenge, there is no growth. Without difficulty, there is no depth. Think about the strongest steel. It's created through intense heat and pressure. Diamonds are formed in darkness under the weight of the earth. The same is true for you. Every challenge you face refines you, sharpens you, and reveals the strength that was hidden inside you all along. You may not see it while you're in the storm, but when it passes, you'll realize you've become unbreakable in ways you never imagined. The key is not to resist your struggles, but to transform your relationship with them. Instead of saying, "This is breaking me," start saying, "This is building me." When you shift that perspective, every obstacle becomes an opportunity. Instead of being a victim of your pain, you become a student of your growth. Each challenge starts to show you something valuable about yourself, your courage, your patience, your determination. You begin to recognize that your struggles aren't proof of your weakness. They're proof of your capacity to endure, adapt, and rise. When you allow struggle to refine you, you gain wisdom that can't be taught in comfort. You start to develop emotional strength, the kind that doesn't crumble when things go wrong. You learn to trust yourself more deeply because you've seen yourself survive what once seemed impossible. You begin to realize that the hardest experiences often teach the most important lessons: humility, compassion, and perseverance. You start to see that the very things that hurt you the most have given you the greatest gifts. There's a quiet power that comes from walking through darkness and finding your light again. When you've faced pain and come out stronger, you don't just grow, you transform. You carry a calm confidence that can't be shaken easily. You stop fearing the storms because you've learned that you can handle them. You stop doubting yourself because you've witnessed your own resilience. You stop clinging to perfection because you understand that growth often comes from the messiest parts of life. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of survival. They are proof that you faced what could have broken you and chose to rise anyway. The world may see your struggles as flaws, but you can choose to see them as symbols of your strength. You can choose to let every setback refine your spirit instead of hardening your heart. You can choose to keep your faith, your hope, and your purpose alive even in the middle of pain. The truth is, you are still becoming. You are still growing through every experience that challenges you. The more you endure, the more you expand your capacity for strength, love, and understanding. Your struggles do not define you. They are simply the process through which the strongest version of you is being created. Every difficulty is shaping you into the person you were meant to be, and that person is powerful beyond measure. Pain has a way of showing us who we truly are when everything else is stripped away. When life is easy, we move through it without much reflection. But when pain enters, it demands our attention. It forces us to pause, to question, and to look inward. That's when we discover the parts of ourselves we've ignored, the strength we never used, the courage we never believed we had, the clarity we never sought. Pain in its rawest form becomes a mirror. It reflects not just what hurts us, but what we truly value, what we fear, and what we must change to grow. The challenge is not to escape pain, but to understand what it's trying to teach us. When you're in pain, your mind naturally asks, why is this happening to me? But the real transformation begins when you shift that question to, what is this trying to teach me? That single change turns pain from an enemy into a teacher. Every emotional wound, every disappointment, every betrayal carries within it a lesson, a message about your boundaries, your priorities, your purpose. Maybe the pain is teaching you to stop giving your energy to people who don't value it. Maybe it's teaching you that you've been playing small when you were meant for more. Maybe it's reminding you that you've been looking for validation outside of yourself when everything you need is already within you. The truth is, pain doesn't just happen. It has purpose. It's a signal from life that something inside you needs to evolve. When you numb it, ignore it, or run from it, you also run from the growth it's trying to offer. But when you face it with honesty and courage, you begin to understand its wisdom. Pain often arrives when it's time to shed an old version of yourself. It comes to break the patterns that keep you stuck, to awaken you to deeper truth. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The more you resist it, the louder it becomes. But the moment you embrace it, you begin to reclaim your power. You see, pain is energy, intense, concentrated energy, and energy can be redirected. When you choose to channel that energy into something meaningful, it transforms from suffering into strength. The heartbreak that once consumed you can become the reason you learn to love yourself fully. The failure that humiliated you can become the fire that drives your success. The loss that broke you can become the foundation of your compassion and purpose. Pain, when harnessed with intention, becomes the greatest source of personal power you will ever know. But to use it, you must be willing to feel it. You must stop pretending you're okay when you're not. You must stop hiding behind distraction and face the discomfort head on, because it's in the stillness of that confrontation that healing begins. When you stop running, you give yourself permission to process, to forgive, to release. Pain only controls you when you suppress it. Once you acknowledge it, you reclaim authority over it. You stop being a victim of your story and start becoming the author of it. There's a profound strength that comes from turning your wounds into wisdom. It's not about erasing what happened. It's about extracting meaning from it. The greatest leaders, creators, and healers in history didn't rise because their lives were easy. They rose because they found purpose in their pain. They stopped asking, why me? And started saying, watch me. They realized that the very thing that once hurt them was the thing that equipped them to inspire others, to create change, to live with passion and depth. When you begin to see pain not as a barrier but as a bridge, everything changes. You no longer crumble when life challenges you. You adapt, you evolve, you rise. You understand that pain is temporary, but the power it builds within you can last a lifetime. The pain you face today could be the very reason someone else finds hope tomorrow. The lessons you learn in your darkest hours become the light that guides others out of theirs. And that is the beauty of transformation. When you stop fighting your pain, you allow it to turn you into something unstoppable. When life hits you with pain, it can feel like everything is falling apart. The instinct is to fight it, to resist, to try to control what's happening. But true transformation begins when you stop fighting and start accepting what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you like the pain or that you give up. It means you acknowledge it without letting it destroy you. It means you stop wasting your energy wishing things were different and start focusing on what you can do with what's in front of you. Pain becomes unbearable when we resist it, but when we accept it, we begin to see it for what it really is: a moment, a lesson, a chance to grow. Acceptance is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the moment you stop denying reality and start using it to your advantage. Most people stay stuck in pain because they keep asking, why me? Or waiting for things to go back to how they were. But life doesn't move backward. The sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you regain control. When you accept the pain, you create space between what's happening and how you respond. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally. That's where power lies, in your response, not in your resistance. Pain often exposes how tightly we cling to control. We want everything to make sense, to be fair, to fit into our plan. But growth rarely happens that way. It happens in the chaos, the uncertainty, the moments that test our patience and force us to trust the process. Acceptance teaches you that you don't have to understand everything to move forward. You just need faith that this moment, no matter how dark, is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. When you let go of control and accept what is, you stop trying to survive the storm and start learning how to dance in the rain. Think about how nature handles pain. When a forest burns, it looks like devastation. But beneath the ashes, the soil becomes richer, ready for new life to grow. The fire wasn't destruction, it was renewal. The same principle applies to you. When you accept your pain, you clear the ground for something new. You make room for peace, for growth, for purpose. As long as you resist, you stay in survival mode, repeating the same patterns that caused the pain in the first place. But once you accept, you shift from survival to evolution. You stop asking, how do I escape this? And start asking, what is this teaching me about who I can become? Acceptance also brings clarity. When you're no longer fighting reality, your mind becomes calm enough to see solutions you couldn't see before. You start to understand the bigger picture, the connections between your choices, your emotions, and your growth. You begin to realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. The people who hurt you, the failures that broke you, the disappointments that crushed you, all of them played a role in shaping your strength. You can't change what happened, but you can change the meaning you give it. And when you change the meaning, you change the impact it has on your life. Acceptance doesn't erase pain. It transforms it. It allows you to hold your head high even when your heart is heavy. It teaches you to stop resisting the inevitable and start creating from it. You stop wasting energy on what you can't control and start investing it in what you can, your attitude, your effort, your growth. That's how pain turns into power, not when you escape it, but when you embrace it fully and decide it won't define you. When you accept your pain, you start seeing it as part of your story, not the end of it. You begin to trust that every experience, no matter how painful, is preparing you for something greater. Acceptance opens the door to peace, the kind of peace that doesn't come from having a perfect life, but from knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. You're no longer a prisoner of what hurt you. You're the creator of what comes next. That's the freedom acceptance brings. The moment when you stop fighting the pain and start using it to become unstoppable. There's a powerful shift that happens when you take responsibility for your pain. Most people spend their lives blaming circumstances, other people, or fate for what they feel. They say things like, if they hadn't hurt me, I wouldn't be like this, or if life had been fair, I wouldn't be in this situation. But as long as you live in blame, you give away your power. Responsibility doesn't mean that what happened to you is right or deserved. It means you recognize that the power to change, to heal, and to grow is in your hands. The moment you take ownership of your emotions and your reactions, you stop being the victim of your story and become the author of it. Taking responsibility is not about guilt, it's about freedom. When you accept that you are responsible for how you respond to life, you no longer have to wait for someone else to make it right. You stop expecting the world to fix your wounds and instead begin to heal them yourself. That's when transformation begins. You realize that your future is not determined by your past, but by the choices you make right now. Every painful experience has given you something, a lesson, a perspective, a strength, and it's your responsibility to use it. When you own your story, even the darkest parts, they lose their power to control you. It's easy to believe that responsibility means control, but it's more than that. It's ownership of your emotional state. You can't control what people do, but you can control how you interpret it. You can't control every situation, but you can decide how to move through it. That's where your true power lies, in your ability to choose your response. Life doesn't stop testing you once you decide to take responsibility. In fact, it might test you even more. But every time you choose growth over resentment, forgiveness over bitterness, and courage over fear, you strengthen your emotional muscles. You become unshakable because your peace no longer depends on external circumstances. It comes from within. There's also a deep sense of dignity that comes with taking responsibility. It's the moment you say, yes, I've been hurt, but I won't let that define me. I choose to grow from it. That mindset changes everything. You stop repeating old patterns. You stop attracting the same pain in new forms. You begin to act with awareness instead of reaction. Responsibility transforms pain into wisdom because it forces you to reflect on your role, your choices, and your beliefs. You start to see how your own thoughts and fears may have contributed to your suffering, and in that awareness, you find the key to freedom. When you live with responsibility, you begin to see that pain isn't something happening to you, it's something happening through you, pushing you to expand. You start to use it as fuel. Every disappointment becomes data. Every failure becomes feedback. Every heartbreak becomes direction. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I learn from this? That question alone can change the entire trajectory of your life because it shifts your focus from helplessness to empowerment. You begin to realize that the quality of your life is not determined by what happens, but by what you do with it. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who never face pain. They're the ones who face it, own it, and use it to become stronger. They don't blame their past for their limitations. They use it as proof that they can overcome anything. When you take responsibility, you develop resilience, the ability to rise again no matter how many times you fall. You stop waiting for someone to save you and realize that you've been your own savior all along. That's when your life begins to transform. You stop reacting from your wounds and start creating from your wisdom. Responsibility is the bridge between pain and power. It's the moment you stop running from what hurt you and start using it to build a better version of yourself. It's when you realize that your pain was never meant to break you. It was meant to awaken you. When you own your story, no one else can use it against you. When you take responsibility, you no longer need to be rescued. You become the one who rises, stronger, wiser, and completely free. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It's not a straight line or a checklist you complete. It's a process that unfolds as you grow. Turning pain into power means allowing yourself to heal while still moving forward. Too often, people wait until they feel better before they take action, but real healing begins when you start living again, even while you're still hurting. It's about understanding that pain doesn't have to disappear for you to rise. You can carry it and still create something beautiful. Healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about learning how to live in peace with the lessons it gave you. When you begin to heal, you start seeing pain differently. You no longer see it as something that happened to punish you, but as something that shaped you. You realize that healing is an act of courage, choosing to forgive when it's easier to stay angry, choosing to trust again when it's safer to close off, choosing to believe in life after loss. Each of those choices rewires your heart. Each step forward, no matter how small, proves to you that you're stronger than you think. The pain doesn't vanish. It transforms. It becomes wisdom, empathy, strength, and depth. It becomes the part of you that can handle anything life throws your way. Healing also means letting go of the stories you tell yourself about why things happened, why people left, or why you failed. Those stories keep you trapped in the past. You can't step into your future if you're still holding on to the old version of yourself that was hurt. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's freeing yourself. It's accepting that what's done is done, and the only thing you can control now is how you move forward. Forgiveness plays a huge role in this process, not for the sake of others, but for yourself. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was okay, it's saying that it will no longer control your energy. You free yourself the moment you release resentment. Healing requires patience. There will be days when you feel like you've made progress, and days when it feels like you've gone backward. That's normal. Growth doesn't happen in one moment of clarity. It happens through a series of small, consistent choices to keep going. Some days you'll feel strong and hopeful. Other days you'll want to give up. But every single day you show up, even in the smallest way, you're healing. You're proving to yourself that pain doesn't define you, resilience does. You start noticing how far you've come, not just how far you have to go. You start to feel gratitude for the strength you built in the struggle. Healing also happens through purpose. When you use your pain to help others, it loses its power to hurt you. You turn it into something that matters. Maybe you share your story. Maybe you inspire someone else to keep going. Or maybe you simply live in a way that shows others healing is possible. Your scars become symbols of survival, not shame. They remind you of your strength, your perseverance, and your capacity to love despite everything. Pain that is transformed into purpose becomes your greatest source of light. It's how you create meaning from what once broke you. Eventually, you begin to look back and realize that the pain you thought would destroy you actually prepared you. It made you more compassionate, more focused, more grounded. It stripped away what was false and revealed what was real. Healing isn't about becoming who you were before the pain. It's about becoming someone entirely new, someone wiser and more aligned with who you're meant to be. It's about understanding that what once felt like an ending was actually the beginning of your transformation. The final stage of healing is gratitude, not for the pain itself, but for the strength it gave you. Gratitude for the lessons that shaped you, the resilience you discovered, and the clarity you gained. You start to thank the moments that once made you cry because they showed you who you truly are. That's when you realize you've turned your pain into power. You no longer need validation, closure, or revenge. You have peace. And that peace is the ultimate form of strength because it means your past no longer has power over you. You've reclaimed it, rebuilt yourself, and risen from it. That's what it means to heal and to turn pain into power. You become unstoppable not because life is easy, but because you've learned that nothing can break a heart that has already rebuilt itself. Every one of us carries pain. Some of it comes from loss, some from betrayal, some from dreams that didn't unfold the way we hoped. But what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise is not the absence of pain, it's what they do with it. You see, your pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. It was meant to crack you open so that your strength, your wisdom, your true potential could finally come alive. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback has been shaping you for this moment. You are not broken. You are being built. Life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about transforming it. It's about looking at what hurt you and deciding that it won't define you. It will drive you. When you stop running from your pain and start listening to it, you'll find it's been guiding you toward your power all along. So the next time you feel lost, remember this: pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But what can I create from this? Because the truth is, the strongest people you know didn't get there by chance. They got there because they chose to rise again and again, even when it hurt. Let this be your reminder: you are not your past, you are not your wounds, and you are not your pain. You are the power that rises from it. You are the light that grows from the darkness. You are proof that no matter what happens, you can rebuild, you can heal, and you can thrive. And as you walk away from this message today, hold this truth close: your story is not over. The pain you've felt is the foundation of the purpose you're about to live. Keep going, keep believing, and keep turning every scar into strength. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it right now. Remember, your pain has meaning, your struggle has purpose, and your power is waiting to be claimed. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and never forget you have the power to turn your pain into something extraordinary. Thank you. Take care.